At Dunghun Academy, a school for elite students, Han Ji-woo struggles to keep up. When he meets Mr. Park, a mysterious security guard with extraordinary mathematical knowledge, his life changes forever. But Mr. Park harbors a secret that could cost them both everything. Welcome to Dunghun High School, an elite academy where the academic competition is absolutely ruthless. Our main guy, Han Ji-woo, is basically the ultimate misfit here. He's literally counted every single one of the 213 days since he transferred, hoping to finally fit in. But spoiler alert, he's still totally lost. In class, the teacher is up there writing some mind-bending math equation on the board. And get this, every single student already knows the answer, except for our boy Ji-woo. The teacher even jokes that they should at least pretend to ask questions so he can pretend to do his job. He casually drops the bomb that these 10th graders have already finished the entire 12th grade math curriculum. Like, are you kidding me? Talk about a zero IQ move for anyone trying to catch up. This insane reality is a massive problem for Ji-woo, who's sweating bullets trying to survive among classmates who are basically human calculators. Later that night, he's sitting alone in his dorm, desperately trying to study and fix his grades. But then his roommates slide up to him with a super sketchy proposal. Knowing he's totally broke, they offer him a sweet pile of cash to smuggle late-night snacks and drinks into the dorm. Tempted by the easy money, Ji-woo agrees without a second thought. Big mistake. Just when he thinks he's pulled off the ultimate heist, boom! Mr. Park, the legendary school security guard, catches him completely red-handed. Look at that, what a disaster! Mr. Park doesn't even blink. He snatches the bag, checks the loot, and instantly reports the whole thing to the administration. The very next morning, it's maximum embarrassment time. The teacher dumps the confiscated stash right on his desk for the whole class to see. We're talking 4 bottles of drinks, 4 sets of spoons, and 4 massive plates of pork. The teacher calls Ji-woo up the front and demands to know who else was in on this little midnight buffet. Ji-woo panics for a split second, but then he boldly claims that the entire feast was just for him. He literally looks the teacher in the eye and says he was planning to eat all of it solo. It's the most ridiculous excuse ever. And the whole room knows it's pure fairy tales, but our guy stands his ground and refuses to snitch. Absolute legend. The teacher lets out this massive sigh, totally getting the whole bro-code loyalty thing Ji-woo's trying to pull off. But he drops some harsh truth, warning him that while playing the hero looks cool right now, those same so-called friends would throw him under the bus the second things get real. He gives Ji-woo one final chance to spill the beans, making it crystal clear that keeping his mouth shut means getting kicked out of the dorms for an entire month. But despite the crazy pressure, our guy stays silent like a vault and just takes the hit. Later after class, one of the guilty guys awkwardly shuffles over and tries to hand Ji-woo some extra cash for taking the fall. But Ji-woo instantly waves it off, casually dropping the ultimate line. We're friends, man. Ain't no way, what a legend. The guy's completely mind-blown by this and thanks him from the bottom of his heart, straight up admitting he didn't even realize they were actually bros until right now. Then another classmate chimes in, pointing out that Ji-woo's mom is gonna flip her lid if she finds out he got booted. A third guy leans in and drops a spooky rumor. Apparently kids who get kicked out of the dorms end up crashing in the creepy abandoned science building on campus. Yikes. While they're trying to figure out how Ji-woo's gonna survive this epic punishment, the vibe instantly turns sour. Why? Because they spot Mr. Park stomping around on patrol with a signature grumpy face. They immediately start pointing fingers at the poor security guard, whining that their legendary midnight snack routes are totally ruined now because of his hardcore, eagle-eyed watch. Chill out, guys, he's just doing his job. Meanwhile, Mr. Park is completely clueless about the massive wave of high schooler drama directed at him. After wrapping up his shift, he quietly shuffles into a local clinic, looking like he hasn't slept in a century. He practically begs the doctor for some heavy-duty sleeping pills. But the doc plays the wise sage, gently suggesting that popping pills is not the fix, and maybe he needs a total lifestyle reboot. He even tells Mr. Park to just quit his security gig if his insomnia is wrecking him this badly. Mr. Park hits back with maximum sarcasm, basically saying, "Sure, doc, if you can magically find me a better job, I'll take it right now." Shaking his head at the nonsense, he doubles down, firmly demanding enough meds to knock him out for at least 20 days straight. Man is not playing around. Back at his tiny, barely furnished apartment, Mr. Park is living that ultimate solo life. He carefully feeds his pet turtle and chugs a pack of strawberry milk from his fridge, which is literally stocked with nothing else. Talk about a lone wolf vibe, right? Meanwhile, back at the school, Ji-woo is packing up his stuff to get booted from the dorms. He pauses to stare at this insanely difficult math assignment he's been sweating over for days. He remembers the teacher bragging that the answers are literally impossible to find online, no matter how deep you dig. Ji-woo glares at the paper for a second, totally defeated, before just giving up and tossing his bag over his shoulder. But as he steps outside, this girl named Boram suddenly blocks his path and jokingly asks if he got a smoke. When our boy completely ignores her and just keeps walking, she playfully teases him, saying it's wild that he drinks but doesn't smoke. Ji-woo instantly denies drinking a single drop, but she hits him with the ultimate comeback, reminding him that he literally just claimed 4 whole bottles of drinks were his personal stash. She smirks and tells him she almost respected his hardcore loyalty, but that ridiculous lie totally ruined his cool factor. Getting a bit more serious, she tells him he should have just snitched on his buddies, so they could all share a much lighter punishment. Ji-woo speeds up his walk towards the gate, desperately trying to escape this awkward roast session. But Boram just yells after him. She tells him he watches way too many movies if he actually thinks taking the fall is what real friendship looks like. Mind equals blown. Ji-woo finally makes it back home late in the evening, and the dead silence of the tiny apartment confirms exactly what he thought. His mom is still grinding away at work. He drops his heavy bag and looks around the familiar room, noticing that the place is an absolute disaster zone because his mom has been working nonstop. Being the absolute sweetheart that he is, he decides to step up and help out without even being asked. He goes into full cleaning mode, tidying up the living room, scrubbing all the dishes piled up in the sink, and organizing the whole place. Once the mission's accomplished, he crashes into the couch to wait for his mom, but he's so exhausted he completely passes out. Sometime later, the front door finally clicks open, and his mom walks in, looking super drained, but still rocking a cheerful smile after a crazy long day. The second she spots him chilling on the couch, her face absolutely lights up. She pulls him into this super tight, heartwarming hug, clearly over the moon that he pulled a surprise visit without dropping a text first. She gently scolds him, saying he totally should have called ahead since she was stuck at work late. But honestly, she's just thrilled to see her boy. As they're catching up, Ji-woo catches a tiny whiff of alcohol and softly asks if she's been drinking. She just laughs it off like it's no big deal, admitting she grabbed some classic chicken and beer with her coworkers to blow off some steam. When she asks if he's hungry, our guy Ji-woo instantly drops a little white lie, claiming he's already stuffed. He just doesn't want his exhausted mom stressing over cooking right now. What a pure soul, right? Desperate to dodge any more questions about himself, he smoothly pivots and asks about her brand new gig. His mom happily explains that working at the bank's call center is a massive upgrade from her old job. But Ji-woo is studying her face like a detective, looking super concerned, and asks if the customers ever yell or act like absolute clowns over the phone. She just brushes it off with a tired but sweet smile, totally dodging the negativity, and tells him to sit down for a real heart-to-heart. Then she asks the dreaded question, "How was school?" And boom, Ji-woo drops another lie, claiming he's crushing it and keeping up with all the genius kids. Beaming with pride, she tells him all the other parents at work are super jealous of her brilliant son. Meanwhile, Ji-woo is secretly drowning in his struggles, but he keeps his mouth shut just to protect her smile. Grab the tissues, guys! Suddenly, the vibe gets super heavy. She tears up and emotionally confesses that she should have passed away with his father 10 years ago. Oh man, that hits right in the feels, but Ji-woo immediately steps up to comfort her, gently reminding her that it's been a whole decade since that tragic accident. So grateful to see him growing into such an awesome young man, she begs him to crash there for the night. But our guy regretfully declines, spinning another tale that he only swung by to grab some essential study books. After making absolutely sure he's doing okay, she reluctantly lets him head out. Now on his way back to school to scope out that creepy abandoned science building where he's supposed to live, the sky absolutely opens up. It starts pouring down heavy rain, forcing him to sprint through the storm. Later that night, as the massive downpour completely floods the campus, Mr. Park is out making his usual nightly rounds, gripping his massive black umbrella like his life depends on it, making sure the whole campus is locked down tight. But when he strolls up to that creepy abandoned science building, a place literally nobody ever goes to, something super weird catches his eagle eyes. Right there at the entrance, there is a fresh set of wet footprints tracked all over the floor. Cue the suspense music, guys. Mr. Park stops dead in his tracks, narrowing his eyes like a detective as he adjusts his umbrella and creeps closer to investigate. The rain is absolutely pouring down, but these prints are way too fresh to be washed away. His security instincts kick into high gear and he cautiously tiptoes towards the doorway, only to spot a random box shoved awkwardly against the wall, looking exactly like someone just panicked and hid behind it. Using his best tough guy voice, he orders whoever is lurking in the shadows to show themselves right now. After a super tense, nail-biting pause, Ji-woo slowly pops up from his hiding spot. The poor kid is soaking wet, and his face is a hilarious mix of total embarrassment and pure panic. Mr. Park hits him with a massive frown and strictly orders him to march straight back to his dorm. But Ji-woo desperately begs for mercy, explaining that he literally can't go back because he just got booted from the dorms thanks to that whole midnight snack disaster. He promises Mr. Park he just needs a dry spot to hide until the storm passes, but the old man is cold as ice, firmly repeating that a student has zero business roaming the spooky campus at this hour. Frustration completely takes over Ji-woo's face, and he accidentally blurts out the wildest thing. He tells the guard that he wouldn't even be homeless right now if Mr. Park hadn't busted him in the first place. Oh boy, zero IQ move right there. The older man's face instantly turns to stone, and after the most awkward, heavy silence ever, Mr. Park actually takes pity on him and drags him to his tiny, cramped security room. While Ji-woo's awkwardly changing out of his soaking wet clothes, he starts spinning another wild lie, claiming his parents are off on some long vacation and didn't leave him a spare key, so he's literally locked out of his own house. And then, pushing his luck to the absolute limit, he bitterly mutters that Mr. Park really should have just looked the other way earlier. But the grumpy old man instantly snaps back, giving him a hardcore warning to zip his lips, threatening to toss him right back into the freezing rain if he complains one more time. You better chill out, Ji-woo. Ji-woo finally zips his lips and sits there like a good kid, while Mr. Park goes back to intensely playing Sudoku at his desk like it's an Olympic sport. After a few minutes of pure awkward silence, our boy Ji-woo completely passes out on the tiny couch. But then disaster strikes. His bag accidentally tips over, spilling all his stuff right onto the floor. Mr. Park glances over and spots Ji-woo's impossible math assignment scattered everywhere. Surprisingly, the tough guy actually helps pack it all back up super carefully. Fast forward to the next morning, and Mr. Park is literally shaking Ji-woo awake like an earthquake. He bluntly tells him it's time to hit the road. Ji-woo groggily whines that the old man didn't let him get any beauty sleep, but this grumpy guard has zero sympathy. He just yanks the door open and shoves Ji-woo's box of stuff right into his arms, making it crystal clear that this little hotel stay is officially over. Ji-woo's feeling maximum embarrassment right now, doing the ultimate walk of shame out of there. Meanwhile, Mr. Park spots Ji-woo's school name tag just chilling on the floor and decides he'll return it later, watching the kid trudge away. Cut to later that day in class, and the teacher is telling everyone to review that nightmare math assignment from earlier. As the teacher starts writing the insanely complex solutions on the board, Ji-woo looks down at his paper and his jaw absolutely drops. He realizes with pure shock that someone actually completed the entire assignment for him. Without even thinking, he accidentally blurts out the correct answer out loud. He's completely mind-blown, frantically looking around and wondering, who in the world could have possibly done this? Even the teacher freezes, totally stunned that our struggling guy Ji-woo managed to crack such a legendary tough question. Ain't no way. Meanwhile, Boram has been watching him like a hawk from across the room, and she clearly sees that his paper is 100% perfect. Just as she opens her mouth about to expose to the teacher that Ji-woo got every single thing right, our boy goes into full panic mode. He shoots her this desperate, silent look, practically begging her to keep her mouth shut and keep it a secret. Close call. Right after class, Ji-woo sprints over to find Mr. Park, looking him dead in the eye and asks if he was the secret genius who solved his impossible homework. But the grumpy old man doesn't say a single word. Instead, he just casually tosses Ji-woo's lost name tag right at him and kicks him out of the room with zero explanation. Talk about mysterious. Later, during recess, Ji-woo tries to sit down and actually study, but the poor guy is struggling big time. He just can't focus, and the material looks like absolute alien language to him. Suddenly, our guy gets totally distracted when his cardboard box just pops open, spilling his stuff everywhere. What a mess! While he's scrambling to pick it up, he overhears some nearby students complaining about how the teacher has been handing out literally impossible math problems lately. Hearing this, Ji-woo remembers the teacher casually suggesting some insanely expensive math boot camps for struggling students. Like, who has the money for that? Then one of the rich kids brags that his elite private tutor, who literally graduated from a top-tier university in Seoul, got 4 of those exact math problems completely wrong. Wait a minute. Ji-woo's brain starts working overtime and it hits him like a truck. He realizes with absolute certainty that the grumpy security guard, Mr. Park, must be an undercover math genius. Mind equals blown. He firmly decides he has to beg this guy for help. So throughout that entire day, Ji-woo relentlessly stalks Mr. Park, trying his absolute hardest to get the old man to explain how he cracked that impossible assignment. But every single attempt ends in total disaster. Mr. Park just coldly brushes him off, completely ignores his questions, and shoos him away without a single word of explanation. Talk about a tough crowd. Fast forward to the next day during a break, and a bunch of teachers are gathered outside casually gossiping. Nearby, our mysterious old guard is quietly doing his routine sanitation checks, staying completely under the radar. As he sweeps around, he accidentally eavesdrops on the teachers, spilling the tea about their students. Suddenly, Ji-woo's math teacher brings him up, casually mentioning that he actually advised our boy to just give up and transfer to an easier school. He adds that it's a huge decision that only Ji-woo and his hardworking mom can make, especially since his dad tragically passed away in an accident 10 years ago. Oh man, it's just heartbreaking. Hearing this heavy backstory, Mr. Park literally freezes in his tracks. He just can't bring himself to walk away, especially when he hears the super mocking, exhausted tone in the teacher's voice as he complains about Ji-woo struggling. That is just rude. Later that night, our Ji-woo is literally in front of a mirror, carefully practicing his ultimate speech to beg Mr. Park for help one more time. He even brings the ultimate peace offering, a little pack of vanilla milk. Hilarious, right? Mr. Park spots him lurking outside, and in a massive plot twist, actually invites him into the security room. When the grumpy guard bluntly asks what he wants, Ji-woo lays it all on the line, begging the old man to become a secret math master so he can finally fix his grades. Mr. Park gets super serious and tells him the harsh truth. He should just transfer to a normal school and get a part-time job. But Ji-woo stands his ground, firmly insisting he absolutely cannot transfer because giving up would completely break his mom's heart. We're officially invested, guys! Mr. Park gets a bit personal and asks about his dad. Ji-woo quietly admits that his father is no longer around. Mr. Park pushes a little more, gently asking what exactly happened. Ji-woo hesitates, asking if it even matters, before dropping the heartbreaking truth. His dad was taken by a reckless driver when Ji-woo was only 6 years old. Oh man, grab the tissues. Then all of Ji-woo's bottled up frustration just explodes. He vents about how all the rich kids can easily afford elite private tutors, while he's out here fighting for his life every single day just to survive. Seeing the old man's blank face, Ji-woo assumes it's a hard no. Feeling totally defeated, he snatches his vanilla milk back and turns around to leave. But wait. Plot twist. Just before he walks out the door, the grumpy old man calls him back. He scribbles something on a tiny piece of paper and hands it over. Ji-woo looks down and realizes it's a secret room address in that creepy abandoned science building. And then Mr. Park drops the ultimate line. He tells the kid to bring strawberry milk next time. Boom! That's his cool cryptic way of saying, challenge accepted, I'm your new math master. The very next day, Mr. Park swings by an old buddy's hardware store. His friend jokes that he should ditch that exhausting night shift and just work at the shop, but Mr. Park politely passes on the offer. While his buddy steps away for a second, Mr. Park's genius brain instantly spots a massive math error in the store's accounting ledger sitting on the counter. After picking out some heavy-duty lamps and study supplies, Mr. Park tries to pay, but his buddy absolutely refuses to take his cash. But Mr. Park is stubborn as a rock. He insists on paying, dropping this super deep line about how he feels he hasn't done anything truly meaningful to contribute to society. Before walking out, he casually points out the glaring math mistake in the ledger, leaving his friend totally stunned. Fast forward to that night, and Ji-woo is creeping through the pitch-black, spooky hallways of the abandoned science building, trying to find the exact secret room. Suddenly, a creepy, shadowy figure whispers out of the darkness. Did you bring it? Ji-woo almost jumps out of his skin before realizing it's just Mr. Park. The old man flicks on the lights, Ji-woo hands over the legendary strawberry milk, and our boy finally braces himself for his very first epic math lesson. Let's go! Before they even start, Mr. Park lays down the absolute law. He sets 3 hardcore rules. Ji-woo can only ask math-related questions, these secret sessions stay completely off the grid, and absolutely zero talk about tests or exams. Ji-woo nods instantly ready to go. Mr. Park kicks things off by writing a massive equation on the board. Our boy Ji-woo takes one look, thinks it's basic elementary stuff, and blurts out an answer without even using his brain. Mr. Park immediately calls him a fool, firmly pointing out a massive plot twist. The equation itself was completely flawed from the start. Yet Ji-woo rushed to solve it without even questioning the logic. He drops some serious wisdom explaining that actually understanding the problem is way more important than just speedrunning an answer. Then Mr. Park randomly calls Ji-woo Epsilon. When Ji-woo asks what the heck that means, we get an epic flashback. Back in his youth, Mr. Park qualified for a legendary math competition, and a famous scholar gave him that exact nickname while handing him a shiny golden pen as a prize. Talk about main character energy. And just like that, their intense math bootcamp is done for the night. Mr. Park turns around and starts walking away without dropping a single word. But Ji-woo quietly trails right behind him like a lost puppy, because let's be real, he still has absolutely nowhere to sleep. Mr. Park notices the kid stalking him, stops in his tracks, and actually lets him crash in his tiny security room without a single complaint. Deep down is a total softie. Once inside the cramped space, Ji-woo is completely shocked to see a massive mountain of empty strawberry milk packs stacked up in a corner. This guy's literally obsessed. Ignoring the milk pyramid, Ji-woo reaches over and clicks on this ancient dusty radio sitting on the desk. Suddenly, some epic classical music starts blasting through the worn-out speakers. Ji-woo is actually totally fascinated by the vibe. When he asks what kind of music is playing, Mr. Park quickly drops some historical trivia, informing him that it's none other than Bach, the absolute father of classical music. Since listening to a dusty old radio is basically ancient history, Ji-woo whips out a smartphone and quickly searches for that exact same Bach masterpiece. Boom, he finds it in seconds. He hits play and then pulls the ultimate life hack. He carefully drops his phone inside an empty cup to amplify the sound. The classical beats completely fill the tiny room, and Mr. Park, who has literally never owned a smartphone in his life, is absolutely mind-blown by this modern magic. He gently takes the cup and places it right by his side, totally vibing. The music plays softly in the background while Ji-woo finally lies down to rest. Feeling bold, he asks the million-dollar question: why did Mr. Park defect from North Korea? But classic Mr. Park just completely ignores him. Fast forward to the next morning, and the morning shift security guard wakes Mr. Park up, casually pointing out that the grumpy old man actually slept like a baby for the first time in ages. That Bach playlist really worked wonders. Later that day in math class, the teacher drops a massive bombshell. He announces the legendary annual Pythagoras Award competition. Guys, this isn't just a regular test, this is literally the final boss of all math exams in this elite school. He explains that they actually bring in top-tier guest scholars just to create and grade these nightmare questions. And get this, the competition scores will literally count as their final exam grades. No pressure, right? The teacher begs everyone to study like their lives depends on it, desperately hoping that at least one genius from his class will crack the top 3. Meanwhile, our girl Boram just going full detective mode on Ji-woo. She keeps catching him buying mountains of strawberry milk and is super suspicious. One afternoon, she straight up confronts him, jokingly asking if he's developed some kind of weird milk addiction, but Ji-woo just dodges the question like a ninja and speed walks away. Later that night, our boy sneaks back to the secret base in the abandoned science building to meet his master, Mr. Park. The old man hands him a brutal math problem and strictly orders him to solve it entirely by hand. Zero shortcuts allowed. Ji-woo immediately starts whining about how insanely hard it is, but Mr. Park shuts that down fast. He drops some heavy wisdom, telling him that just memorizing formulas is a total rookie move. You have to truly understand them to become a master. Cue the epic training montage, guys. As the days roll by, Ji-woo is actually leveling up. He gets way faster and insanely accurate at cracking these complex equations, spending hours grinding away in that spooky building. Slowly but surely, math stops being this terrifying monster and becomes something he can actually tackle like a pro. But all that late-night grinding catches up to him. One day, Ji-woo completely passes out in class, only for Boram to shake him awake, saying one of his buddies urgently needs to talk to him. Ji-woo rushes out to meet his friend, only to get hit with some super heavy news. His buddy confesses that he just couldn't handle the insane academic pressure anymore and already submitted his transfer papers. Oh man, that's just heartbreaking. Ji-woo feels incredibly sorry for him, and after his friend leaves, our guy just sits there alone, deep in his feelings, wondering if he's next. But of course, Boram pops up out of nowhere to break the silence. She starts bothering him, asking if he's planning to pack his bags and transfer too. Ji-woo is not in the mood and tells her just to leave him alone. Then she drops a truth bomb, revealing that they actually share the same struggle of being less privileged welfare students. But Ji-woo quickly shuts that down, pointing out she's definitely way better off than he is. Suddenly, Boram's super strict mom crashes the conversation and Ji-woo just awkwardly walks away. Cut to the car ride home, and Boram gets into a massive argument with her mom, who snubbishly demands to know why her daughter is hanging out with a welfare kid. Talk about toxic energy, right? Boram claps back, reminding her mom that she's technically a welfare student too. But her mom is in total denial, insisting she's completely different, just because she doesn't get direct financial aid from the school. Then the mom drops a massive scandalous bombshell. She reveals that she actually swapped Boram's private tutor with the secret help of her homeroom teacher. Boram instantly protests, calling it out as totally illegal and straight up cheating. But her mom just brushes it off, claiming the teacher is just helping her succeed. Boram hits back with a super cold tone, dropping the ultimate truth bomb. Everything in this school leaks, even the exam questions. Yikes. Completely done with this toxic argument, she just jams in her earphones and stares at the window. After a super awkward silence, her mom randomly asks if she's still wasting time playing the piano, strictly warning her that music won't pay the bills and she needs to focus 100% on her studies. When they finally arrived at their destination, her mom gives her one less snobby reminder that this elite tutoring is strictly reserved for the top-tier students. Meanwhile, back at the school, our boy Ji-woo is sitting all alone in the creepy science room, looking absolutely heartbroken. When Mr. Park strolls in and spots his gloomy mood, Ji-woo sadly confesses that his best buddy officially transferred out of the academy. Mr. Park just listens quietly, being the ultimate stoic mentor. As they take a slow walk back toward the dormitory, the old man drops some serious wisdom. He explains that running away and transferring should absolutely never be Ji-woo's first option. Instead, he needs to stand his ground and prove he can actually survive and crush it right where he is. Mr. Park looks him dead in the eye and says that mathematics requires pure courage. The courage to face impossible difficulties and totally silence the haters who doubt him. He hypes Ji-woo up, telling him he has to prove his teacher completely wrong with epic exam results, not by packing his bags and running away. Let's go! When they finally reach the dorm building, it suddenly hits Ji-woo. His month-long punishment is officially over, which means no more secret sleepovers in Mr. Park's tiny security room. He turns around to head inside, but pauses for a second, getting a little emotional. He actually asks Mr. Park if he's gonna miss him, since they literally lived together for a whole month. But classic Mr. Park completely dodges the question, acting super tough and just tells the kid to get inside, pretending he doesn't care at all. We all know he's a softie on the inside though. From that day forward, Ji-woo goes into absolute beast mode, studying harder than he ever has in his entire life. Later that afternoon, during recess, while he's sitting all alone buried in his massive textbooks, Boram quietly sneaks up to his desk. Without saying a single word, she gently slides a pack of his favorite strawberry milk right in front of him, along with a sweet little note apologizing for acting like a jerk earlier. And just like that, she walks back to her seat. Are we sensing a little redemption arc here, guys? Ji-woo just glances at the milk, gives absolutely zero reaction, packs up his stuff, and walks away like a total boss. Later on, he sneaks off to the creepy science building for his secret tutoring session with Mr. Park, completely unaware that Boram has gone full ninja mode and is secretly stalking him from the shadows. Just as Ji-woo starts diving into some heavy math equations, boom! Boram literally bursts through the door, yelling out. But she instantly freezes in pure shock when she realizes the secret math genius is actually Mr. Park, the grumpy school security guard. Maximum awkwardness. Super embarrassed, she quickly bows and apologizes for the jump scare, politely introducing herself. She casually drops that Ji-woo has totally talked about him before, but our boy Ji-woo instantly panics. He frantically denies it, awkwardly waving his hands and trying to explain to Mr. Park that he never spilled the beans, while desperately trying to shoo Boram out of the door. But nope, she stubbornly sits there and waits quietly until their entire hardcore study session is over. As the trio leaves together, Mr. Park lays down the absolute law, firmly warning her that if she wants to tag alone with Ji-woo, she has to take the secret to the grave. On their walk back to the dorms, Boram suddenly spots Ji-woo's traitor roommates. Yep, exactly the same clowns who let him take the fall for the midnight snack heist, sneaking even more food into the school. Mr. Park totally sees them red-handed, but plot twist, he just keeps walking and completely ignores them. Ji-woo's jaw absolutely drops. He's so shocked and immediately starts protesting, whining that he literally suffered a whole month of punishment for absolutely nothing. Life's just unfair sometimes, guys. Fast forward to another intense study session, and Mr. Park is literally fanboying over Euler's formula. He's passionately explaining its absolute elegance and perfection, calling it the ultimate masterpiece of the math world. But while he's hyping it up, Ji-woo is just sitting there with a totally blank face, looking like his brain just blue screened. He completely misses the magical beauty Mr. Park is feeling. Seeing this, Mr. Park tells Ji-woo to bring Boram to the science building. He dusts off this ancient piano, assigns her some specific notes, and starts playing a crazy sequence of numbers. Suddenly it hits Ji-woo. They're literally playing the musical digits of pi. Mind equals blown. Boram absolutely loves the jam session, finally saying math is something beautiful instead of just boring numbers. But the good vibes don't last. The very next day, Ji-woo boldly points out a massive error in a class math problem, but the arrogant teacher refuses to take the L, insisting his questions are flawless, and literally kicks our boy out of the classroom for talking back. What an absolute jerk! Later on, Mr. Park swings by to visit an old buddy, absolutely crushes him in a board game, and wins a brand new mobile phone. His friend practically begs him to finally join the modern world and connect with people. When Mr. Park gets back to the academy, he proudly shows off his new gadget to Ji-woo, who's genuinely hyped for the old man. But wait, plot twist, instead of downloading social media or playing games, Mr. Park's attention instantly shifts when he realizes he can use the internet to access thousands of high-level mathematical theses and academic papers. He's literally scrolling through the internet with pure amazement, totally mind-blown by how much infinite knowledge is right at his fingertips. Seeing his master so happy, Ji-woo is determined to help him out even more. He immediately pulls some strings and asks one of his buddies for a massive favor: to secretly unlock the computer lab during recess so he can print out a super important document for the old man. After successfully pulling off the secret lab heist, Ji-woo and Boram proudly deliver the massive printed thesis to Mr. Park. When the old man receives it, you can totally tell he's jumping for joy on the inside, but he tries so hard to hide his happiness behind his usual grumpy, tough guy face. Instead of just saying a simple thank you, he completely deflects and strictly orders them to go study for their massive test the next day. Classic Mr. Park. Finally, the day of the legendary Pythagoras Award competition arrives, and the tension in the school is absolutely through the roof. You could hear a pin drop. The students nervously pass the exam papers around, and the ultimate battle of the brains officially begins. Our boy Ji-woo is in the zone, tackling the impossible questions with absolute calmness like a true math ninja. But Boram? Oh boy, after struggling for a bit, she lets out this massive angry sigh, stands up and literally walks right up the exam hall. What a dramatic exit! Right after the test, Ji-woo frantically calls her to find out what the heck just happened, but he gets absolutely zero response. Getting ghosted, Ji-woo decides to shoot her a quick text instead, desperately asking if she's still gonna show up for the epic surprise they planned for Mr. Park. Meanwhile, Boram has completely locked herself in her bedroom, going full isolation mode. Her super controlling mom is standing outside the door, casually promising that she'll just bribe the teacher and invent some perfect fake excuse for why she skipped the most important test of the year. Obviously, the toxic behavior just annoys Boram even more. Later that afternoon, Ji-woo actually takes Mr. Park on a surprise mini road trip to a fancy classical music concert. When they finally arrive at the grand venue, Mr. Park looks around and nervously asks if this whole VIP experience is way too expensive for a high school kid. But Ji-woo smoothly explains that Boram's wealthy grandfather actually sponsored the entire trip on her behalf. What a flex! After they finally settle into their fancy seats in the massive concert hall, Mr. Park leans over and quietly asks Ji-woo the million-dollar question. Is Boram still coming? Ji-woo drops the sad news that she probably won't make it, explaining how she literally walked out right in the middle of the most important test of the year, and is probably in a terrible mood right now. Suddenly the lights dim, the performance officially begins, and the pianist starts playing a legendary piece by Johann Sebastian Bach, who's literally Mr. Park's absolute favorite composer of all time. As the beautiful, familiar melody completely fills the massive concert hall, Mr. Park's tough guy expression slowly starts to melt away. He's listening so intently, his eyes completely glued to the stage, and you can totally see him getting super emotional as the music unfolds. Grab the tissues, guys! When the epic show finally ends and they stroll out of the hall, Ji-woo playfully asks if he enjoyed the live VIP performance way more than those crackly versions he usually listens to in his ancient radio. But Mr. Park doesn't even say a single word. Instead, he just stays completely silent, looking like his soul is still totally absorbed in the magical music. After a super long dramatic pause, Mr. Park suddenly breaks the silence and asks Ji-woo if he's hungry. Our boy Ji-woo instantly admits that he's absolutely starving. And without even a second of hesitation, Mr. Park actually invites him over to his secret apartment. When they finally arrived at his place, Ji-woo immediately spots the pet turtle chilling in its tank, and jokingly roasts the old man, wondering out loud what it must be like for a poor turtle to live with such a grumpy roommate. Hilarious, but classic Mr. Park completely ignores the joke and just marches straight into the kitchen. He whips up a super simple but cozy meal and just sits there quietly, watching like a proud grandpa as Ji-woo devours the food. Once he's totally stuffed, Ji-woo gives him a super sincere thank you and heads out for the night. But wait, the drama is not over. Meanwhile, our girl Boram goes full hacker mode and anonymously posts a massive bombshell on the school's online bulletin board, exposing that the legendary Pythagoras exam questions were completely leaked. Oh boy, the internet is about to break. This insane claim instantly sets the entire academy on fire, sparking a massive top-secret emergency board meeting. While one clueless teacher tries to brush it off, suggesting it's just a salty rumor started by students who failed, the furious principal is not having it. He strictly orders that whoever leaked this information must be hunted down and severely punished. Yikes. Fast forward to the very next day, Mr. Park and Ji-woo are just casually hanging out at a local bookstore. But right as they go to pay, this random guy suddenly approaches them and bluntly asks Mr. Park if he originally came from North Korea. The stranger introduces himself as Pilju and drops the biggest plot twist of the century. He claims that Mr. Park is actually Ri-hak Sung, his legendary former math teacher. Mind equals blown. Mr. Park stays completely frozen in silence as Pilju hands over a business card. And right before walking away, the guy looks at Ji-woo and calls him Taeyeon, which is apparently Mr. Park's actual son. What in the world is happening? Mr. Park immediately panics and speed walks to the store, while the super confused Ji-woo chases after him, desperately asking what that crazy encounter was all about. But Mr. Park completely dodges every single question like a pro. Later that evening, back at his apartment, Mr. Park sits in silence, deeply reflecting on his son, Taeyeon. He gets super emotional remembering how the little guy was absolutely obsessed with strawberry milk and how he once talked about setting his pet turtle free into the river. Those heavy memories just living rent-free in his mind, breaking his heart. Fast forward to the next day at school. Our boy Ji-woo is just chilling in the lunch line when a massive news broadcast on the TV totally catches his eye. The reporter announces that a legendary North Korean mathematician named Ri-hak Sung is dangerously close to proving the impossible Riemann hypothesis. Mind equals blown. Completely in shock, Ji-woo literally drops his lunch tray on the floor and sprints off to find Mr. Park. After checking his room and finding it empty, Ji-woo finally spots him doing his usual cleaning rounds. He runs up out of breath and straight up asks if he's actually the legendary math genius from the news. Mr. Park instantly panics, grabs him by the shoulders, and gives him a hardcore warning to never ever mention that hypothesis again. Ji-woo's just standing there like, bro, I think it's incredibly impressive. But when he asks why this epic secret has to stay hidden, Mr. Park just glares at him and tells him to zip his lips and follow orders. Meanwhile, the corrupt teacher who actually leaked the exam questions is sweating bullets and going into full panic mode as the rumors spread like wildfire. The furious principal summons Ji-woo's homeroom teacher, who's totally secretly involved in this massive scandal. The very next day, this shady teacher calls Ji-woo into his office and pulls up security footage showing our boy sneaking into the computer lab. Ji-woo frantically explains that he only went in there to print a math thesis, but the teacher twists the story, accusing him of stealing the top secret exam questions. Even though the teacher admits that he has zero solid proof, he heavily pressures Ji-woo, offering a super sketchy deal. He claims he'll help him out of this mess, but only if Ji-woo agrees to pack his bags and transfer out of the academy immediately. This absolute clown of a teacher insists that transferring is his only safe bet, threatening that Ji-woo is going to get expelled anyway because his math score is magically skyrocketed without any logical explanation. He even takes it a step further, warning Ji-woo that with the fake evidence piling up, he could literally face a 5-year conviction if he doesn't leave. He tries to frame this toxic blackmail as damage control. Ain't no way. Meanwhile, over in North Korea, the National Intelligence Service is having a total meltdown, getting wild reports that Mr. Park was supposedly kidnapped by Southern spies. During their intense meeting, one official argues that Mr. Park actually defected to South Korea totally on his own, while another guy awkwardly admits that, yeah, they treated the genius pretty terribly when he was there. Back at Donghung Academy, the rumor mill is spinning out of control. All the students are whispering in the hallways, pointing fingers, and totally convinced that our innocent guy Ji-woo is the mastermind who stole and leaked the exam papers. What a disaster! At the exact same time, the North Korean officials actually send a secret representative to track down Mr. Park. They're desperately urging him to go on live TV for a massive interview to finally prove the impossible Riemann hypothesis. They're hoping this legendary achievement will magically open up massive economic and security doors for their country. Meanwhile, our boy Ji-woo is absolutely devastated. He's tightly clutching that toxic transfer ladder and sprinting as fast as he can to see Mr. Park and explain this whole nightmare. But when he finally arrives at the secret base, he overhears Mr. Park absolutely screaming at his friend. The friend was begging him to do the interview and finish his life's work, but Mr. Park flat out refuses. He drops a heartbreaking truth bomb, yelling that he can never pursue it because his own son tragically passed away because of his obsession with that research. Oh man, grab the tissues. After the friend storms out, Mr. Park immediately starts packing up all his stuff to run away. Ji-woo bravely steps in, desperately asking where he's going, but Mr. Park completely ignores him and just keeps aggressively packing his bags. When Ji-woo tries to explain the crazy situation, Mr. Park completely snaps. He harshly lashes out, accusing our boy of just using him as a tool to boost his math grades, comparing him to the exact same manipulative people back in North Korea. Ouch, that remark stings so deeply, and a totally heartbroken Ji-woo asks with tears in his eyes if that is truly how Mr. Park has seen him this whole time. Instead of answering, Mr. Park just turns his back and walks away. He leaves Ji-woo standing there all alone, screaming after him that he only stayed to prove himself because he believed in Mr. Park's advice. He literally held onto the old man's words, which is the only reason he hasn't signed that awful transfer letter yet. Feeling completely crushed, Ji-woo slowly walks home. Boram frantically calls him on the phone, begging him to get Mr. Park to testify and prove he only printed a math thesis in the lab. But a totally defeated Ji-woo just sighs and insists it will be completely useless now. Meanwhile, Mr. Park is literally at the airport, attempting to flee the country and disappear forever. But as he sits in the terminal, he spots a random kid who looks exactly like his late son, Taeyong. This instantly triggers a massive heartbreaking flashback to his son's tragic struggles. He remembers how the boy grew super restless and unhappy living in South Korea. After getting caught and strictly warned by security officers not to illegally cross back into North Korea, his son made a run for it and was tragically shot. Absolute chills, guys. Back at the apartment, Ji-woo finds his hardworking mom fast asleep. Completely giving up hope, he takes her official stamp, officially signs the dreaded transfer letter, and just sits in the dark living room quietly crying his eyes out. This is so sad. The very next morning, which happens to be the day of the massive Pythagoras Award ceremony, a totally broken Ji-woo hands the signed letter over to his corrupt teacher. The shady teacher gives a fake smile and assures him he will handle it. But wait, Mr. Park heads back to his apartment, but his phone suddenly rings. It's our girl Boram, and she frantically drops the bomb that Ji-woo is officially transferring out of the academy. Meanwhile, over in North Korea, the intelligence service is setting up the ultimate live broadcast, eagerly calling their agents to bring Mr. Park in for the interview. Back at the school, Ji-woo is literally walking out the gates, ready to give up on everything. But wait, Boram intercepts him like a total action hero. She tries to talk some sense into him. When he stubbornly refuses to go back to the ceremony hall, she pulls the ultimate zero IQ move. She literally hijacks his backpack and sprints inside. Ji-woo has no choice but to chase her down. But the second he steps into the massive hole, the ceremony officially kicks off, and the teachers order everyone to sit down. He is completely trapped. Boram sits nearby with the biggest, most satisfied smirk on her face, while our boy Ji-woo is just reluctantly stuck there. Meanwhile, Mr. Park is having a super emotional moment. He finally takes his pet turtle down to the river and gently releases it into the water, beautifully symbolizing that he's finally letting go of his heavy, tragic past. Grab the tissues, guys. Back at the academy, the Grand Pythagoras ceremony is in full swing. They introduce this legendary school alumni, Mr. Oh Jung-nam, to give a massive motivational speech. Right in the middle of his talk, Jung-nam drops a historical bombshell. He announces that a brand new groundbreaking thesis proving the impossible Riemann hypothesis has just been submitted by the legendary Ri Hak-sung. But before he can even finish his sentence, the massive doors swing open. In walks Mr. Park, who's literally the myth, the legend, Ri Hak-sung himself. The entire hall goes dead silent, and everyone is whispering, wondering who this grumpy old security guard is. Mr. Park confidently marches right up to the stage and flashes the legendary golden pen they both won back in their teenage math competition. Mind equals blown. Jung-nam's jaw absolutely drops. He instantly recognizes his old rival and rushes over to greet him. After a quick emotional reunion, Mr. Park politely asks if he can steal the microphone for a second. Jung-nam proudly turns to the massive crowd and officially introduces the grumpy security guard as the absolute math legend Ri Hak-sung. The crowd is in total shock. Mr. Park steps up to the podium and drops the ultimate truth bomb. He tells the entire school exactly how he met Ji-woo and how they spent weeks secretly grinding through hardcore math lessons. He looks the corrupt teachers dead in the eye and loudly declares that Ji-woo is completely innocent. He explains that the kid only sneaked into the lab to print out his legendary Riemann hypothesis thesis, not to steal some silly test. He demands the school launch a real investigation, praising Ji-woo's insane hard work. And then for the grand finale, he completely exposes the real villain. He reveals that some shady figure using the fake name Oler has been posing as an elite tutor and is the actual mastermind who leaked the exam. Absolute cinema, guys. Ji-woo's corrupt homeroom teacher desperately tries to grab the mic and interrupt, nervously sweating and claiming the school will handle this internally. Yeah, right, but Mr. Park is not having it. He openly roasts the teacher in front of everyone, straight up accusing him of trying to frame an innocent kid. Maximum embarrassment. The shady teacher literally tucks his tail and walks away in shame. Then the room gets super emotional. Mr. Park publicly apologizes to our boy Ji-woo and sincerely thanks him for bringing a spark of meaning back into his life after his heartbreaking personal tragedy. The entire crowd of students and teachers are completely stunned, their jaws on the floor, finally realizing that their grumpy school security guard is actually a legendary, world-renowned mathematician from North Korea. Mind equals blown. Obviously, the school immediately rejects Ji-woo's forced transfer letter. Around the same time, Mr. Park meets up with his loyal buddy, who helps him secretly sneak out of the country so he can safely continue his genius research somewhere else. But before he vanishes into the sunset, Mr. Park leaves Ji-woo the ultimate farewell gift. His original handwritten notes on the impossible Riemann hypothesis. What an absolute legend. Of course, our girl Boram is not about to let him keep all that genius to himself. She playfully teases him, insisting that those legendary notes absolutely must be shared, and demanding they split the ultimate math cheat code between the two of them. Classic Boram. Fast forward a whole 3 years later, guys. With the long-distance guidance of the absolute master, Ri Hak-sung, our boy Ji-woo has totally leveled up. He actually organizes his very own epic mathematics bootcamp to support and tutor other struggling students. Talk about a massive glow-up. And then get your tissues ready for the grand finale. During the program, he finally reunites with Mr. Park after years of being apart. The two legends meet face to face once again, grab some chalk, and quietly solve a massive equation together on the board, exactly like they used to in that creepy old science building. What an absolutely beautiful ending. Drop a like and subscribe if this movie made you tear up, guys.